What's up, everybody? Aaron with Aaron Unwind, back with another episode with the Friday the 13th series, we're going to say. And I am going to go ahead and include in that series the classic. I'll go ahead and tip my hand a little bit with Ronnie Yu's Freddy vs. Jason. That's what I'm covering tonight on the channel. Maybe I'll cover all the Nightmare on Elm Streets at another time. I don't know. Probably not, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm more a Jason guy than a Freddy guy, I guess. But with Freddy vs. Jason, you don't have to choose because you get kind of a beautiful morphing of both movies. It's kind of just like a perfect like ode to like the early 2000s. And just kind of everything that went along with that. We have one member of Destiny's Child in the movie, and Kelly Rowland using a very dated slur that I'm not going to repeat on the channel because I want the channel to stay up. But the good part is Jason kills her right after she uses that very dated slur of that time period. So there's that. So that's good. Overall, like, I think I'm not going to really go like beat by beat. That's what John's here for, and John's not here with this program usually. So at least not on screen. So, in general, I think they do a really clever job of bringing both stories to light, if I'm being honest. Like Freddy has to figure out a way to get back into like being in the mainstream and scaring kids on Elm Street. So the way he figures it out is like basically manipulating Jason by like using his mother to like puppet, like for Jason to go kill a bunch of kids in Elm Street but make people think it was Freddy. Yeah, that's a really good setup and a really good premise. And Ronnie Yu is not talked about and loved enough within the horror realm. I feel like he has the best or one of the best Friday the 13th movies, I feel like, with Freddy vs. Jason. And he has the best or one of the best Chucky movies with Bride of Chucky. Yeah, like this guy gets it when they're like when there's an, paying out and also making a good movie. There's, of course, the beloved Bill in this movie. Bill, unfortunately, the way that unwinding is portrayed in this movie is not respectful or accurate. It's quite sad. A lot of bad things happen to people unwind in, slasher movies, as we all know. Here, there's no exception. He hits a very gross-looking hookah with like a worm guy and then wastes all the hitting. So that's too bad for Bill. A real bummer there. Robert Englund, great as Freddy. Big shock there. Not time talking about that, but he's really good. Overall, this movie, I feel like does a good job of, having some fun, but also being, taking itself pretty straight throughout. Laurie Campbell is the main lead's name. So, like there's just like lots of little kind of clever odes to horror throughout like that. And, the kills from Jason are, again, pretty brutal in this movie. So around this time period there, this is a couple years before like the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I feel like there was a lot of influence to kind of the later movies within horror for this, for the 2000s. So, yeah, I really had a good time with this entire franchise throughout. So it's kind of weird that as we get to the end, they really start to understand more and more how to make, a ridiculous Jason movie with Jason X. I feel like they completely nailed it there. And then this, it's like, how do we kind of meld the worlds of Jason and Freddy together? One of my big critiques definitely is that Freddy and Jason don't verse each other very much in this movie. And it definitely ends on like a cliffhanger where I feel like it would have been fun to see more movies. I think it's too bad that we only got to see, Freddy and Jason clash one time, at least up to this point. I just wouldn't anticipate a future installment being as successful, but maybe I'm wrong. But throughout this, Friday the 13th journey so far, I've had a really good time. So let's go ahead and get to the ratings here for, first of all, the traditional rating. So we'll get to the ratings. Yeah, I mean, this one and Jason X, I've watched countless times. So my traditional rating would be my normal rating for this movie, which is a solid 4 videotapes. I just feel like if you really hate this movie, I have a hard time trusting you. It's definitely one of those movies for me. And you just didn't grow up in the same time period as me. Right over to the enhanced rating now. For me, I feel like this movie does get, slightly bumped up. I do think there's just, a lot of, kind of funnier moments that stick out a little bit more if you do enhance. So go ahead, 4.5. Why not? It's enhanced for a reason. 4.5 of my Leaf friends down there. So that is going to do it for the Freddy vs. Jason episode of the Friday the 13th franchise. We're done. Wait, no, we're not. Because they're remaking it. Did you hear? They remade it in 2009 or something. I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll let you know the year next year or next week when I cover the remake of the Friday the 13th franchise, which some people say is their favorite one, like the real hot take one. So join me there and join me at the Letterboxd challenge. The link is right over here. A comb. It's in my profile, Abby's profile, John's profile. Good prompts to catch up and watch some movies in the last quarter of the year here as we approach. And, we don't have to go through the week anymore because we have the fancy title card. So see you next week. Thank you so much for the support. Peace out.